The U.S. brokered ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah ends the deadliest war in decades between the two sides. The deal is fragile, nearly a year in the making after painstaking negotiations that intensified in just the last 2 months. Joining us now is the lead U.S. negotiator for the deal, U.S. envoy Amos Hochstein. Amos, congratulations for now. Fingers crossed, fingers and toes crossed. This is Lebanon. It's the Middle East. You know it better than anyone. But you have been shuttling back and forth between Beirut and Jerusalem and other capitals for a long time to make this happen.
Yeah.
What do you think was the key breakthrough?
Well, I think this has been a very difficult year, right? So this Hezbollah joined in, for those who don't remember, Hezbollah joined in this conflict within hours of Hamas's attack on Israel on October 7th. So 2-3 a.m. on October 8th, they started that front. So we've been in a two-front war ever since and been devastating. Over the last couple of months, we felt that there was enough. Israel has degraded Hezbollah. It had achieved a lot on the battlefield against Hezbollah, eliminated most of its leaders and taken out a lot of its capabilities. And on the other hand, there was you're not going to get security in Israel or in Lebanon with only military options. And so if you want to get people back to their homes and repair their lives in Israel, you have to get to a political deal. So I felt that there was a moment in time that we reached that was the right moment to press hard to get there. And that's where we intensified the negotiations over, I would say, the last 6 weeks, with a lot of active support from the president to be able to get to the decision yesterday.
Was it a hard decision to try to get Hezbollah off of demanding a ceasefire, full ceasefire in Gaza by their Iranian allies, proxies, Hamas, to get that first, which was proving to be so intractable?
So yeah, that was one of the key problems was Hezbollah for Nasrallah, the now deceased leader of
assassinated by the Israelis in September.
He kept saying there will never be, an Iranian official said it too, there will never be a ceasefire in Lebanon without a ceasefire in Gaza, which meant that look, the Lebanese people actually never wanted this conflict. They didn't ask for it. Hezbollah forced it on them, and the majority of Lebanese never wanted this war. So tying it to a intractable other conflict didn't make a lot of sense, and breaking the linkage was critically important, and that paved the way to this deal here. But this is a very complicated deal. People are saying it's a 60-day deal. It is not a 60-day deal. It is a permanent ceasefire with a 60-day deployment plan for the Lebanese army to take over its territory and the Israelis to depart.
How challenging is it going to be for the Lebanese army to stand up? And it's really the first step towards Lebanon reestablishing its sovereignty, because Hezbollah has so permeated Lebanon politically, economically, and militarily.
Look, you know, Andrea, you think about the fact that 1975, we had a civil war in Lebanon. We've had Israeli invaders, Syrian invaders, Iranian invaders through Hezbollah. The Lebanese army has not been in full control of its own territory in decades. This is the moment of opportunity for Lebanon to have, the Lebanese people, to have sovereignty over their country from foreign invaders as well as internal, and to rebuild their country. But as you just said, the Lebanese army is not equipped to go in on day one and to have a massive force that it needs to accomplish.
How are they going to get equipped?
So we're going to support them. We have a 60-day plan for them to be able to deploy, and as they deploy, the Israelis withdraw. So within the first several days, the Israelis will start withdrawing from the areas the Lebanese army will go in. And we are going to provide, together with our international partners, support, financial, training, equipment, and the particular training for doing this kind of a job. 2006, the war ended, and the mediators left and didn't return from that day on. And so there was zero implementation. We were determined not to make that mistake again. So we're going to have implementation here. We're going to pay attention to what happens on the ground and not allow Hezbollah or other organization to reestablish terrorist infrastructure.
One of the ways Hezbollah won the support of some of the Lebanese people is by helping them rebuild after the last Israeli occupation and providing food and other services, schools.
Correct.
How do you prevent that from happening again?
Well, that's exactly my point. We reached a deal in 2006 to end the war, and the mediators just left. They didn't implement the agreement, and they didn't support those whose homes were destroyed. Mostly people who actually didn't participate in the war, but their homes were destroyed. We have to do two things. One, support the Lebanese army, and the second, support the Lebanese economy and the Lebanese people. That's the responsibility of the United States and the international community. And if we don't do it, we'll be back at this conflict in a few years.
And I was talking to Ruby Khan, a very, strong advocate for the hostage families. They feel abandoned and left behind in this, although congratulating the peace that is going to be brought to Lebanon in the north and to the Israelis in the north, rather. What hope is there for Gaza?
Yeah. Look, I think this Lebanon deal is a key moment to change. We're stuck in Gaza. And Hamas has always believed, I have the support of Hezbollah and Iran supporting me, distracting Israel into a two-front war and supporting. They woke up this morning at 4 a.m. local time knowing they're alone. And so I think that we believe, the president believes, and he said it yesterday, that this is the moment that we need to leverage that to try to put whatever pressure we can to get those hostages. The president believes that he may be in a transition period, but getting the hostages home is something he's going to work on to the last.
Well, Hamas said that they're willing to negotiate now with Turkey, Qatar, but we don't know who that is. I mean, there were reports in Israel, but is there a spokesperson? I mean, Israel's killed Sinwar, they've killed Mohammed Deif.
Well, the president said yesterday quite openly that Hamas has not negotiated in good faith in months. If they want to come and negotiate in good faith, there is a deal to be made now. And the president also said, we are going to use this moment to go talk to Turkey, to work with Turkey, with Qatar, with Egypt, with anybody else who can help to get this deal done. I believe it is possible, and that this Lebanon deal now is the moment that could break the logjam that we were on.
Can the Trump people be helpful?
Look, they weren't involved in this negotiation, but after the election, we have definitely briefed them. I briefed them on this deal. I thought it was fair if we're going to make commitments on how this ends. They should know about it and support it. They've been supportive. And I think that we are trying to make this as seamless, on the national security front at least, it should be a seamless transition. And if they can be helpful, I think that would be advisable. The most important thing is to get these. Look, these hostages are sitting in horrific conditions for over a year. And some of them are Americans. We need to bring them home. And I don't think this should be about who's the president, when the president-elect is coming in or not. We should all, as Americans, do whatever we can to bring them home. The president's been committed to bringing not just these hostages, but all Americans wrongfully detained around the world home. But that includes the Americans that's sitting in Gaza. And Hamas can start by saying, I'm willing to come to the table and release hostages.
Well, extraordinary work. Thanksgiving wishes to you and your family.
Thank you.
And thanks for doing what you have done, frankly.
Appreciate it, Andrea. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too.